And what do we know about boobs? I always want to remind you guys. Left boob bigger.
I was made aware, maybe it was before Christmas, that there was like this Janet Jackson documentary coming out. And really, if you think about it, Janet Jackson, a huge celebrity in the 80s and early 90s. I mean, massive. You know, we had that huge Super Bowl performance and the costume, wardrobe malfunction. That brought that term to the forefront. That the term wardrobe malfunction was created. It entered our lexicon because of Janet Jackson and the Super Bowl disaster.
The term nip slip also entered our lexicon.
No, nip slips has been around, that's just the most famous of the nip slips.
Right. I mean, it was that nip slip that was caused by the so-called wardrobe malfunction, which, that was the term that was rushed out. But how could that not have been 100% premeditated? It had to be. It was absolute shock value. And, of course, folks, I'm talking about the 2004 Super Bowl. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I've got a lot to do, but I've got to say my piece. If I keep this bottled up inside, it's going to be very unhealthy for me mentally.
You've got to let it bubble out.
Yes, I've got to let it out. I've got to discuss this.
All right, for your mental health, let's get it off your chest.
All right, I'm only going to take a minute or so on this, and then Fester, apparently you're going to challenge me.
Let's see what you have to say.
You're indicating. All right, what's caught my attention here is that at the end of the month, there is going to be a 2-night Lifetime A&E, a documentary on A&E. It's going to be called Unfiltered. It's going to premiere on January 28th. And Janet Jackson, after, really just kind of, disappearing, is coming back on the scene here. She's on the February cover of Allure magazine. She's doing various interviews. We've got this documentary, the 2-parter that's coming out. She pledged that she would never discuss the infamous incident at the 2004 Super Bowl when Justin Timberlake exposed her nipple while pulling off part of the costume at the very end of the set during the Super Bowl halftime show. And she had public apologies. She did Oprah. Janet Jackson says, whatever I want to be a part of that conversation, whether or not I am part of the conversation, whether she wants to be part of it or not. Yeah, she told a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, Robin Givhan, about the controversy, which she said hurt her career. I think it's important, she noted, not just for me, but for women. So I think it's important that conversation has been had. You know what I mean? And things have changed, obviously, since then for the better. It was February 1st, 2004, when the former NSYNC front dude, Justin Timberlake, ripped off the, is it a bodice? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
Ripped off the front of that leather covering over Janet Jackson's, was that her left breast?
It was right
breast.
It was righty, yes.
Right breast.
And what do we know about boobs? I always want to remind you guys. Left boob bigger on most women.
Okay.
But remember, he pulls off the material and it exposes Janet Jackson's chest. And didn't she have some kind of a metal, like a gear or a cog?
Okay, it was a starburst. It was a starburst around her
thing, and anyway.
Okay. So was it around it or was it covering it?
It was around it.
Yeah, I think it was like a hubcap.
Okay.
All right. So my anger persists to this day. I have not forgiven Janet Jackson. I have not forgiven Justin Timberlake. I don't really know. We never really got to the bottom of the story. I don't know if we'll ever know the truth of what happened. I think that it strains credulity to believe.
What did you say?
Yes. All right. So I think that you'd have to be an idiot. Let me put it that way.
Okay, I understand.
I think you'd have to be an idiot not to believe that was completely premeditated and they were looking for some kind of an unbelievable shock value with 1 billion people watching worldwide. What this did, and again, I'm only going to spend a moment on this. This changed broadcasting, and it really affected our industry. It made us tense. What happened after the Janet Jackson incident, it caused the FCC, with all the complaints, to go into like hyper enforcement mode. All of the radio companies, Fester, how can you not remember this? We were walking on eggshells.
Absolutely.
All of the radio morning shows. That's when they started putting delay units in like all the stations. All the station owners, they were afraid that they were going to be fined like millions of dollars. And we were under the spotlight.
Congress called in owners of companies.
Oh, exactly.
What are you doing to protect our children?
The Janet Jackson Super Bowl matter made morning show life miserable for a while because we were scared. Companies were firing morning shows. There were good people after the Janet Jackson incident. There were good people in this business that were fired. Good shows were canceled, and not because there was anything obscene, anything that got not even close. It was like
anything that was even in the questionable range.
The range was so narrow, and people that had done normal content were getting in trouble, suspended, fired, careers were ruined. And again, we were running scared. I'm trying to transport myself back to 2004.
You were afraid to put your toes in the water.
I think for a while...
we were afraid to do our freaking show. It was that bizarre. The memos, the meetings, the conference calls. And it wasn't just... Back then, we were working for Clear Channel.
The training. Remember all these online trainings we had to do on protecting the license? And, we had... I think for a while, we stopped using the word ass, which is our favorite word to use on this show. I know.
It was insane. It was all of the radio companies. We were Clear Channel back then, the old MJ Morning Show. Now, of course, we're part of the Beasley Media Group, bringing the MJ Morning Show back. But all of the major companies like CBS and Cox and... I don't even think they could say their actual name. They couldn't say their name on the air, the name of their radio company.
They fined themselves. They fired the founders of their company over at Cox Media.
But it made our lives hell. And everyone was scared. All the program directors, the operations managers, the general managers, like, remember Dave Reinhardt and Dan DiLoretto, and everyone was scared, and it all came out of that Janet Jackson situation. So I'm telling you right now, that affected us. That stressed us. I'm telling you, it made us crazy, and it changed broadcasting. And people lost their livelihoods because of this, because everyone went into the hypersensitivity mode. Okay, I've said my piece. So with Janet Jackson, she's opened up new wounds, folks, as now she's emerging from hibernation with this docuseries coming out at the end of the month. So, Fester, is there anything that you want to challenge me on? Did I say anything incorrect? Now what? Now you're quiet? Now you're quiet?
I'm coming right at you, baby.
What's that?
Listen,
you're just revving up.
You have expressed your feelings. However, if there were a Justin Timberlake documentary coming out, a 2-part documentary of Justin Timberlake on A&E,
right,
you would not be this pissed off. You would not be this mad at Justin.
Because there
were two of them. You can't be angry at Janet if you're not angry at Justin.
Hang on.
It was visibly angry.
First of all, it was Janet Jackson's nipple.
Yeah, but
Wait a sec. It was her show. He was an accessory item to that show. Again,
an accessory to a crime.
I would like to know, was he in on it? Did he know that her nipple was going to be exposed? It's quite possible. This is one of these mysteries. Will we ever know the truth of the Janet Jackson breast exposure during the Super Bowl halftime show of 2004? And listen, if he's culpable, then he deserves the same amount of blame. You
can't say this 20 years later, 15 years later, whatever it is, MJ. Listen, Justin Timberlake was pissed because the year before, in 2003, Madonna kissed Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera on the VMAs, and it was the most talked about second
about that.
in broadcasting ever.
So the talk was, were they trying to outdo that with shock value during the Super Bowl?
All Justin wanted to do was upstage Madonna and his ex, Britney Spears, and he did with this whole idea.
But we don't know the genesis of the idea. If Justin Timberlake said to Janet, hey, I've got a great idea to get the whole world talking, then Justin Timberlake is 100% culpable. If he had the idea and talked Janet into it, or was it Janet's idea? Again, will we ever know the real truth?
The answer is yes, because in April of 2001, celebrity stylist, this is from Wikipedia on the Super Bowl halftime show controversy.
Wait, April of what?
April 2021, last year.
You said 2001.
Okay, April 2021, celebrity stylist Wayne Lucas claimed that it was planned by Timberlake, who sought to upstage his ex-girlfriend Britney Spears at the MTV VMA Awards, where she kissed Madonna.
All right, well, listen, this claim is from just last year.
This has been now people are talking about it who were involved. Like you said, Janet's been quiet for a decade and a half over it.
So wait a minute. You're telling me that 17 years later, just this past April, some stylist named Wayne Scott claimed that Timberlake wanted to upstage Britney Spears?
Yeah.
And
of course he did.
And he claims, who's this dude and why should I believe him?
Okay, you want...
Because it makes sense.
Okay, people come forward in stories all the time. Why should I believe... People come forward in cold cases all the time. Why should we believe you?
I am not... First of all, I'm not protecting Justin Timberlake. If he is guilty and culpable, throw the book at him. And I'm not saying I don't believe it. I think the story is plausible. I think Justin Timberlake could have been part of it, but I don't know if we have...
We have proof. We have proof. Gonna have you naked by the end of this song.
That was
the song.
That was the beat that Justin was singing when he disrobed Janet.
When he ripped, it was almost like a Velcro breakaway part of that bustier, bodice, whatever you call it. I do not absolve Justin Timberlake from anything. If he's guilty, then he gets the same wrath that Janet Jackson would get. Or if Janet was innocent, then Justin Timberlake, if he was totally but Janet was wearing the item. It seems that the options are that they were in total cahoots, or that Janet could have had a costume set up and Justin didn't know that the breakaway was going to expose.
They had to have, listen, MJ, and then you're blaming the incident for the fallout.
I am.
If you want to be pissed,
that's my real anger.
Be pissed at your congressman.
Yes.
Be pissed at the FCC. Don't be pissed at Janet Jackson.
Yes, be mad at society. I mean, think about what we're talking about here.
I'm mad at the world.
A nip slip. Oh, my eyes are going to burn out of my head. I just saw female anatomy that you feed children with. Like, who cares?
All right. That's true. Thank you for the anatomy lesson, Roxanne. But MJ, if you're going to be pissed at anybody, be pissed at Congress and the overreaction in Washington and these crazy nuts-ass conservative groups that comes forward with, they're destroying our children.
There was an absolute meltdown and there was an overreaction, and I'm just telling you, it made radio, morning shows, and radio personalities' lives hell. People were fired, lost their job. We were on eggshells, and that was like that for several years, all because of that damn incident.
You can't be pissed at the incident. You got to be pissed at the people who reacted disproportionately stupidly.
All right, I'm moving on. But listen, I wanted to get my... Yes, Coop.
I have a correction.
Yes.
You keep saying that she's been in hibernation, but I think the word is rhythm nation.
All right.
Very good, Coop.
It's actually really funny, Coop.
Very good, Coop.
I waited that entire segment to say it.
All right.